From our News Nation headquarters in America's heartland, it's time for News for All America. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Nick Smith. Here's what we're following this morning. A new push to force a vote on impeaching the Secret Service chief over President Trump's brush with death. Director Kimberly Cheadle calls it the worst Secret Service failure in decades and continues to resist bipartisan calls to resign. This as lawmakers visit the shooting site and leave with more questions. President Biden returns to the White House today after recovering from his latest bout of COVID and just 2 days since leaving the presidential race, telling campaign staffers by phone to embrace Vice President Harris.
I want to say to the team, embrace her. She's the best. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be out there in the campaign with her, with Kamala. I'm going to be working like hell.
Vice President Harris in Wisconsin today for her first official campaign event. Starting off strong, raising $100 million since Sunday and reportedly getting all the delegates she needs to be the presumptive Democratic nominee. Plus.
Holy sh**. Oh my God, what the f***?
Holy shucks indeed, a fireball rips through a crashed semi-truck. You can see a flying flaming tire barely miss a firefighter right there in that video. How this all unfolded and how people are doing today. And right now, you're looking live at the U.S. Capitol where pressure is ramping up to remove Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle. South Carolina Representative Nancy Mace moving to force a House vote on impeaching Director Cheadle after grilling her over President Trump's assassination attempt on July 13th.
Would you say the fact that we had to issue a subpoena to get you to show up today as being transparent, yes or no?
I have always been
yes or no. You didn't want to answer the question. Committee. We had to issue a subpoena to get you to show up today. That is not transparent, by the way.
News Nation's Tom Dempsey is live in Washington. Tom, that was fiery indeed, and that was just only one of the many sound bites that happened in that hearing. Lawmakers are demanding answers about what went wrong in Butler, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's right. Good morning, Nick. Look, a day after actually touring the site of the attempted assassination in Butler, Pennsylvania, today members of the House Homeland Security Committee will be putting a focus on the response from local police to the shooting. All this comes, though, as the Secret Service faces a lot of criticism, and the director of the Secret Service faces calls to resign. 10 days after the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump, on Monday, Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle called the shooting the most significant operational failure in decades.
The Secret Service's solemn mission is to protect our nation's leaders. On July 13th, we failed.
It has been 10 days since an assassination attempt on a former president of the United States, regardless of party. There need to be answers.
Cheadle testifying in front of the House Oversight Committee and facing questions of how 20-year-old suspect Thomas Matthew Crooks got to within 150 yards of the former president, almost killing him.
Director Cheadle, because Donald Trump is alive, and thank God he is, you look incompetent. If Donald Trump had been killed, you would have looked culpable.
Despite facing strong criticism, Cheadle remained defiant, calling herself the right person to lead the Secret Service. Lawmakers grew frustrated at times as Cheadle walked around questions about the investigation.
Have you provided all audio and video recordings in your possession to this committee, as we asked on July 15th, yes or no?
I would have to get back to you.
That is a no. You're full of today. You're just being completely dishonest.
Cheadle now faces calls to resign from both Republicans and Democrats after accepting responsibility for the security lapse that almost claimed the life of former President Trump.
I think that the director has lost the confidence of Congress.
Ms. Cheadle, you said that the buck stops with me, and I agree. I don't think you should resign. I think she should have been fired.
Now, Director Cheadle will not be part of the hearing today. Again, it's focusing on the response from local police during this attempted assassination. It kicks off at 10 a.m. Eastern time right here in D.C. Nick?
Tom, thank you so much. Turning now to the big question many are asking, why haven't we seen President Biden in about a week? Just how sick has he really been? The first time we have actually heard, and I emphasize heard, from President Biden since he tweeted that he would drop out of the race was on the phone with Kamala Harris and her campaign supporters. News Nation's Alina Shirazi is in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, with the latest on the president. So, Alina, when are we actually going to see the president for ourselves? Because, you know, a phone call is one thing. Actually seeing the commander-in-chief is quite another.
Yeah, exactly. Good morning, Nick. We know it's been 6 days since we have actually seen the president. We are actually just about a mile from his beach home in Rehoboth, Delaware. He has been there isolating for now, as you mentioned, just short of a week. We know that we did hear him on the phone, but he has had COVID now for 6 days. His physician saying that he's doing better. He's practically symptom-free. He's on his 10th dose of Paxlovid. But yesterday, Kamala Harris also made her way here. We know that it's her first day, really, of the campaign, where she was at headquarters. She spoke with staff. We know for about 20 minutes she gave that speech praising the president while he was on the line. So here's a little bit from their exchange where she profusely thanked the president for endorsing her.
Joe, I know you're still on the call, and we've been talking every day. You guys heard it from Doug's voice. We love Joe and Jill. We really do. They truly are like family to us. And we do, everybody here does.
It's mutual.
I knew you were still there. You're not going anywhere, Joe.
I'm watching you, kid. I'm watching you, kid. I love you.
I love you, Joe. Oh.
And of course, right now, we know that the party is lining up behind Harris. We also know that she has, as of this morning, we've learned she's raised about $100 million. She has the support of a lot of delegates, too. So we know we have moved now officially from the Biden-Harris camp to Harris HQ. Nick.
Yeah, and Alina, phone calls are one thing, but have you heard any plans about when we will actually see the president speak in person?
Yeah, we know that he's headed to the White House in a few hours from now at 12:30 Eastern. He should arrive at about 2:30. We know he will be briefed by his cabinet as to plans on whether or not we are going to actually hear and see the president. Both of those things, we have not heard from that yet. We are checking with the administration, our sources, to see whether or not we will, in fact, hear from him today in the coming days. In his post on X, he did say that he would address the nation later in the week. That was Sunday when he, of course, posted that, saying he would not run for re-election, which of course sent shockwaves throughout the entire nation. But we know also he did reschedule his meeting with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for this Thursday as well, after pushing that back for 2 days. Nick.
Alina Shirazi live this morning at the president's home in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. Alina, thank you so much. Democrats are lining up to throw their support behind Kamala Harris. The vice president suddenly turned presidential candidate, making headlines across the nation. The Associated Press reports that Harris now has enough verbal commitments from the DNC delegates to put her over the top for the Democratic nomination. That, as the Harris campaign says, she's already raised more than $100 million since President Biden dropped out of the race on Sunday. News Nation's Kelsey Kernstein is outside the Democratic Party headquarters in Milwaukee for us this morning. Kelsey, a historic first day of fundraising for the Harris campaign. What happens next?
You know, Nick, it really is. This is an enormous amount of money, and it is making history. But what is also making headlines is Vice President Kamala Harris. She is seemingly capitalizing on the double voters, right? These are the very same people, the double hater voters. These are the very same people who said that they don't want President Biden or former President Donald Trump. The Harris campaign has claimed that it has raised $100 million since President Biden dropped out of the race, with $81 million coming in the first 24 hours. What's more, that money coming from more than 1.1 million individual donors, with 60% of them being new contributors for the 2024 election cycle. Harris's first day haul is the largest single-day fundraising total in American history. That is about $30 million more dollars than Donald Trump raked in after his felony conviction earlier this year. Now, one of the biggest Democratic super PACs, Future Forward, announcing a staggering $150 million raised within 24 hours, coming from donors who had been previously hesitant and undecided. Now, the Harris campaign also says it's had more than 28,000 new volunteers sign up since the announcement. That is more than 100 times the rate than the Biden campaign. Also, really interesting to note that the war chest, according to the campaign right now, is near $250 million. And this surging fundraising, you have a lot of people saying that this is evidence that this means that Kamala Harris has a double hater voters. And this is the very same voters who earlier this month, 63% of them saying they were embarrassed to vote for President Biden and former President Donald Trump. Nick?
And Kelsey, it's only July. Kelsey Kernstein live for us this morning in Milwaukee.
Exactly.
Kelsey, thank you. Joining us now, host of the Aggressive Progressive podcast and News Nation political contributor Chris Hahn, and former Massachusetts Republican Party Chair Jennifer Nassour. Jennifer, Chris, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Jennifer, I'm going to start with you. Vice President Harris going on the attack against former President Trump after becoming the de facto nominee. Let's take a listen and chat on the other side.
I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women. Fraudsters who ripped off consumers. Cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. I will proudly put my record against his.
Jennifer, Vice President Harris clearly waiting for the dramatic pause, leaning on her background as a prosecutor. Is her argument more effective, and will her attack be more effective coming from a woman?
I mean, look, I think that the best thing that Donald Trump and the Republican Party can do right now is ignore everything that she's saying and point to the most important issue that voters have in 2024, which is the border. She's the border czar. That's a joke. We see today that there are 3,000 migrants, illegal immigrants, that are headed for our border from Mexico. And that is because Kamala Harris has not done her job. And so I think that that's all we need to point to. And she could say anything that she wants to say. This has already been litigated in the court of law and in public opinion.
And Chris, Mr. Trump saying that Kamala Harris is as dumb as a rock.
Yeah, I mean, talk about projection. Look, border politics is never a decisive issue among swing voters. Sure, the bases on both sides will say it's an important issue to them, but the 6 to 8% of Americans that are going to make up the difference in this election do not vote on the border. If they did, Republicans would win every election we've ever had because they win on the border. So, you know, I hope they continue down the path they continue down. What I see is a battle between the past and the future. And the Democrats, with Kamala Harris at the lead, are talking about the future. And I agree with Nikki Haley when she said the first party to dump their 80-year-old presidential nominee is going to win. And that's the Democrats. We've got youth versus old age. Somebody needs to retire, and somebody's going to the White House. And that's going to be Kamala Harris.
Jennifer, can the Republican Party launch a successful attack against Vice President Harris and her record, raising more than $81 million in the 24 hours since President Biden dropped out? That figure now growing past $100 million. Is this money going to be a deciding factor in how the Republicans are able to launch a successful fight for the White House?
I don't think that anyone's concerned about the money. I mean, at this point, you know, in presidential politics, we see money coming in all the time. She's the new thing out there. And I think people are excited, exactly what Chris was saying, that it's not another 80-year-old. However, at the end of the day, what Harris has to go through is being tested on a national stage, which she has not been tested over the last 4 years. They have kept her in a box. She hasn't been out there. She hasn't been doing her job. And all we see is a cackling hyena. And I don't think that it's helping. I mean, this whole rebranding of her as this kind of party girl from Charlie X, whatever, XCX. I mean, I look at this, I have kids that age, that voting age, they're not wooed by this. They want to hear what Kamala Harris is going to do for them when they get jobs and when they need to get an apartment and they need to pay bills. And so I think that this whole thing needs to turn back into a policy argument. They can rebrand her however they want. It doesn't change the fact that this woman has been the vice president who has not been able to be on the national stage because the Democratic Party was embarrassed of her.
Jennifer and Chris, thank you both so much. Chris, when we come back next time, I want you to comment on the cackling hyena.
Yeah, well, I hope they go down that path. I mean, look, the American people are not going to stand for it this time. And she has been tested. She's the vice president of the United States. I think she's been doing an excellent job the last 3 weeks when most people have had a very difficult time talking about the situation they're in. She's been out there doing the job. She's going to take it to them. And I can't wait for Donald Trump to debate her. We'll see who's stupid in that debate.
Jennifer, Chris, thank you both so much.
Thank you.
And here are some of the headlines we're following this Tuesday morning. President Trump appealing his civil fraud conviction in New York. Lawyers for the 45th president calling the nearly $500 million penalty draconian and claim it violates centuries of case law. Many of the arguments were frequently raised during the trial, including claims of political persecution by a Democratic attorney general. Mr. Trump, his company, and top executives were found liable for inflating wealth on financial statements to get loans. The appellate division plans to hear oral arguments in late September. And have you seen this man? Army investigators are asking for your help finding a soldier who went missing from a base in Southern California. This is 26-year-old Private First Class Alejandro Espinola. He failed to report for duty at Fort Irwin National Training Center in San Bernardino County last week. He was last seen Friday outside of L.A., about 140 miles from the base, and believed to be driving a gray Hyundai Elantra GT hatchback. And lawmakers are giving CrowdStrike's CEO until Wednesday to schedule a time to testify before Congress over Friday's global tech outage. The company said Monday it's been in contact with congressional committees. Friday's issue, caused by a faulty CrowdStrike software update, affected 8.5 million window machines, knocking banks, hospitals, and other companies offline, forcing thousands of flight cancellations. Some of the airline issues continue this morning. And President Biden vowing to end the war in Gaza before he leaves office in 181 days. The president making those comments ahead of a high-stakes meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. A man whose brother was taken hostage by Hamas joins me live with whether or not a deal can be done.
Holy sh**. Oh my God, what the f***?
Holy shucks is right. A fiery explosion shutting down a highway where it happened and what police say caused that massive fireball.
T-Mobile's 5G network connects 100,000 Delta employees so they can make every customer feel like they've arrived before they've left the ground. This is how business goes further with T-Mobile for Business.
Right now, pet dander, skin cells, and dirt are settling deep into your carpet fibers. Stanley Steamer removes the dirt you see and the dirt you don't. Your carpets aren't clean until they're Stanley Steamer clean.
Stanley Steamer gets your home cleaner.
You've had thyroid eye disease for a long time, and you've lived with the damage it caused. But even after all these years, restoration is still possible. Learn how at TEDhelp.com.
The following is based on reality. You may be offended.
Please help me. Help. Someone, please help me.
When you fall and cannot get up, an accident can turn into a tragedy. With Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast.
This is Life Alert. I'm calling for help right now.
With any of Life Alert's 3 emergency systems, help can be summoned immediately. And batteries never need charging. Life Alert saves a life from a catastrophe every 11 minutes.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-559-8882. That's 1-800-559-8882. Call now, 1-800-559-8882.
Not every decision you make will be as good as getting a Volkswagen at the Savvy VW Summer Sales Event. 2024 Volkswagen models cost less to maintain than Honda. Get 1.9% APR financing or a $2,500 customer bonus on a new 2024 Tiguan.
Did you know Sling has your favorite news programs for just $40 a month?
My favorite news for just $40 a month?
My favorite news for just $40 a month?
$40 a month?
My favorite news for just $40 a month?
$40?
Get your favorite news for $40 a month. Sling lets you do that.
Can you do this? As early as your 40s, you may lose muscle and strength. Protein supports muscle health. Ensure Max Protein has a 30-gram blend of high-quality protein to feed muscles for up to 7 hours. So take the challenge. Ensure nutrition for strength and energy.
In journalism, trust is everything. It must be earned every day in the truth of our words and the stories we tell.
I can promise News Nation's not going anywhere.
News Nation, built upon a reputation for honest, unbiased news, reporting with integrity, perspective, and experience, building a legacy of journalism you can trust. News Nation, news for all America.
Holy sh**. Oh my God, what the f***?
And did you see that fireball there with that tire go flying past that firefighter? Take a look at this video. It's intense. It's showing a massive truck explosion in which the driver was killed. And you see that fiery tire barely missing that first responder. It happened in New Jersey, just outside of New York City. Officials say a box truck and a transit bus collided on the highway. The 29 people on that bus, though, were unharmed. The truck exploded after crashing through a barrier, ending up in the backyard of several different homes. Now, signs on the truck showed it contained a corrosive material, but no word on what that chemical actually was. And President Biden on Tuesday vowing to end the war in Gaza before he leaves office in 181 days.
And we got to keep working for an end to the war in Gaza. I'll be working very closely with the Israelis and with the Palestinians to try to work out how we can get the Gaza war to end and Middle East peace and get all those hostages home.
Those remarks as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is in the U.S. this week addressing Congress for a meeting with President Biden that has been rescheduled twice due to the president's COVID diagnosis. That meeting happening as disagreement grows over the role the U.S. should play in Israel's ongoing war with Hamas. One of the biggest issues is negotiating with Hamas to get the 116 remaining hostages back home. Joining me now is Michael Levy. His brother, Or Levy, was taken by Hamas on October 7th. Michael, good morning.
Good morning.
Michael, your brother and his wife were attending that music festival when Hamas attacked. Your brother was taken alive. Is there any update that you can share with us about him?
I'm afraid all we know is that Or was taken alive and that he wasn't injured. But that's all we know. We have no reason to believe anything different, and we believe he's still alive and hopefully well.
Michael,
as much as he can be.
You just heard what President Biden had to say about the war. Do you think he can help end the fighting before leaving office in January?
All I have left is to hope. The way I see it is that President Biden and Benjamin Netanyahu has an option to remain a legacy after they live, and that will be the legacy if they will be able to release all the hostages and seal a deal.
You know, Michael, we've been following this story since Hamas's attack on Israel at that music festival on October 7th. And I know you don't speak for all of the families, but I know that this process has to be frustrating. Do you believe that Mr. Netanyahu being in the United States and telling hostages that the deal could be close to happening and that the conditions are ripening, what are you hoping that actually comes from this meeting with President Biden once it happens?
Very simple. We are tired of hearing that it's close and that it might be this time. we want to see actions. We want to hear that this deal is finalized and that we signed, Israel and Hamas signed a deal, and that the hostages are starting to get back home as they should.
Michael, we know that everything that happens here in the United States has an effect around the world. Do you believe that Mr. Biden's decision not to run for election somehow will diminish the importance of that meeting with Mr. Netanyahu, or do you believe that it is still full steam ahead?
As you said at the beginning, President Biden still has 181 days, and I think he knows how important it is to be part of the history, and he knows that his legacy can be the one that he can be the one that actually brought a deal that ended this war and made all the hostages come back home to their loved ones.
And Michael, I know that Mr. Netanyahu has been a divisive figure for some Israelis, particularly on the subject of the hostages. Where do you stand right now? Is your support behind Mr. Netanyahu, or are you of the mindset that enough is not being done?
The fact that the hostages are not with us yet means that none of us is doing enough. So I think that I can do more, the media can do more, the Israeli government can do more, President Biden can do more, we all can do more. So at the end of the day, I support anything that will bring us back, all and the rest of the hostages.
Well, Michael, know that we are keeping you, your brother, and all the other hostages in our thoughts and prayers, and we will, here at News Nation, continue to follow this story until everyone is home safely. Michael, thank you so much.
Thank you.
As the vice president gains more support for her presidential bid, the country wants to know where she stands on the key issues. We'll take a look at her platform.
Voigtman against Booker, the rebound for Embiid, the outlet feed for LeBron James, and the reverse adjustment.
You saw it right there. Look at King James putting on a show just days before the start of the Paris Olympics. How Team USA fared in their final exhibition before the games began.
At SimpliSafe, we designed the #1 rated home security system powered by 24/7 professional monitoring for half the cost of traditional home security. So you stay safe for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
At the Jeep Make This the Summer event, you can take a vacation from payments on the most capable Wrangler ever. Our most affordable SUV, Jeep Compass. The only open-air pickup, Jeep Gladiator. And the most awarded SUV ever, Jeep Grand Cherokee. Hurry into your Jeep brand dealer and make the most out of summer with great deals plus no payments for 90 days.
During the Jeep Make This the Summer event, get $2,000 bonus cash allowance on select 2024 Jeep Gladiator and select 2024 Jeep Wrangler gas-powered models in dealer stock.
Stay ahead of your moderate to severe eczema and show off clearer skin and less itch with Dupixent, the #1 prescribed biologic by dermatologists and allergists that helps heal your skin from within. Serious allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Tell your doctor about new or worsening eye problems such as eye pain or vision changes, including blurred vision, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma medicines without talking to your doctor. Ask your eczema specialist about Dupixent.
At Fisher Investments, we may look like other money managers, but we're different. How so? We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our clients' best interest, so we don't sell any commission-based products.
Then how do you make money?
We have a simple management fee, structured so we do better when our clients do better.
The clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority by getting to know their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more.
Wow. Maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
My friends call me Zam. I naturally hold a lot of stress in my digestive system, as a lot of women do. When I started taking DSO1, I immediately noticed how much lighter I felt. It really helps me stay regular. I honestly recommend DSO1 to everyone.
The scary finance dream again. Do you maybe want to take Facet's financial wellness quiz?
Okay. Finances can be scary, but they don't have to be. Go to Facet.com to get your free score today.
We went with the website nuts.com because nuts and dried fruit and pretzels and trail mix and gummies and chocolate and espresso beans and malted milk balls and crackers and popcorn and sesame sticks and veggie chips and energy squares and fudge and jelly beans and seeds and rock candy and saltwater taffy and dried berries and fruit leather and bars and jerky and a whole lot more .com was already taken. Get 20% off and free shipping on your first order at nuts.com. Yes, we have more than nuts, but still the website is just nuts.com.
Let your feet take you wherever your spirit wants to go. The redesigned Hurricane helps you navigate any surface so it truly stands alone. Move forward with confidence at hurricane.com.
Welcome back. 30 minutes after the hour. Here's a look at the top stories we're following this morning. Hearings will continue today on Capitol Hill in the search for answers over former President Trump's attempted assassination on July 13th. The Secret Service facing a ton of criticism, with several lawmakers from both sides of the aisle calling on its director, Kimberly Cheadle, to resign. And where is President Biden? For the first time we've actually heard from him. That's happened since posting he would drop out of the race was on the phone with Vice President Harris and her campaign supporters. But it's been just under a week since we've actually seen the president in public. We know he has been at his vacation home in Rehoboth recovering from COVID and is expected to return to the White House this afternoon. And Democrats are lining up to throw their support behind Vice President Harris. The Associated Press reports she now has enough verbal commitments from DNC delegates to put her over the top for the Democratic presidential nomination. That, as the campaign says, she's already raised more than $100 million since President Biden dropped out of the race on Sunday. And time now for more of your morning headlines. A new trial date has been set for January in the case of Karen Read. A mistrial was declared earlier this month, a decision happening after she appeared in court Monday. She's accused in the 2022 death of her Boston police officer boyfriend, John O'Keefe. Prosecutors allege the couple was in a rocky relationship, ending with her backing over O'Keefe in her SUV, leaving him for dead. The defense says she was framed. And more than 10,000 people in Oregon are under evacuation orders as wildfires rage across the state. The Boneyard fire seen here has charged more than 14,000 acres and is 0% contained, while 4 other fires reaching mega fire status, burning more than 100,000 acres. Those fires injuring at least 17 people and destroying 38 buildings. Extreme fire conditions expected to continue throughout at least Wednesday. And the Postal Service debuting a new stamp honoring Alex Trebek to mark what would have been the late Jeopardy host's 84th birthday and celebrates the game show's 60th anniversary. Trebek's widow saying it's a wonderful way to recognize what Alex meant to so many people. The stamp reading, "This naturalized U.S. citizen hosted the quiz show Jeopardy for 37 seasons." And underneath, upside down, the correct response. Who is Alex Trebek? The stamps are available for purchase now.
Voigtman against Booker, the rebound for Embiid, the outlet feed for LeBron James, and the reverse adjustment.
Buckets all over the place. LeBron James is days away from bearing the flag during the Olympic opening ceremony, and he has Team USA firing on all cylinders. James led all scorers with 20 points in the Americans' win over Germany 92-88 in their final tune-up before the Olympics. Team USA starts their quest for a 5th straight gold medal on Sunday against Serbia. And now that Vice President Harris is in full campaign mode, the country's voters are looking a little bit closer at her record. News Nation's Xavier Walton joins us. And Xavier, we know that Kamala Harris has name recognition, but voters want to dig a little bit deeper into what she's really all about.
Oh, absolutely, Nick. And Vice President Kamala Harris has been, one of the most searched names on Google in the last 48 hours. People are just desperate for more information on her, but also her stances on some of these key major issues when it comes to, say, things like abortion. Harris has been very outspoken on her belief that women should have access to abortion care.
The right of every woman in every state in this country to make decisions about her own body is on the line. And I've said it before, and I will say it again. How dare they? How dare they?
So Democrats believe this is one of her strongest issues. Remember, Harris was the first vice president in office to tour an abortion clinic and repeatedly criticized the Supreme Court after overturning Roe versus Wade, from perhaps her strongest to what Republicans say is her weakest point, her policy and action on the border on immigration.
We are making progress, but let's just be very clear. This is a complicated, complex issue that actually has been an issue for a long time. And the work that we are putting into it now is work that is going to require a long-standing commitment beyond administrations.
So a recent Gallup poll says a majority of voters are unhappy with the current state of our southern border. You see it there at more than 55%. Critics say there could be more done on the side of the Rio Grande, pointing to the VP only visiting the Texas border just once, despite Harris specifically tasked with reducing migration from Central America. Nick, and you notice in that video, that short clip we had of Harris, her and then Governor Roy Cooper from North Carolina, they had masks on in that video, saying it was pretty long time ago. It was 3 years ago.
Yeah, and, you know, many on the right are framing her as a former czar on the border, and we know that she was only just tasked with going down and check it out and trying to figure out what the problems were. Xavier Walton, thank you so much. And while the election is heating up, some lawmakers are finding one place where they have common ground.
The assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump on July 13th is the most significant operational failure of the Secret Service in decades.
The most significant operational failure, that from the director of the Secret Service, Ms. Cheeto. Congressman Tim Burchett joins me live with why he says bipartisan outrage could be enough to remove Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheeto from her post.
Lactate is 100% real milk, just without the lactose. Delicious, too. Just ask my old friend Kevin.
Nothing like enjoying a cold one while watching the game. Who's winning?
We are, my friend. We are.
Nothing dims my light like a migraine. With Nurtec ODT, I found relief.
The only migraine medication that helps treat and prevent all in one.
To those with migraine, I see you.
For the acute treatment of migraine with or without aura and the preventive treatment of episodic migraine in adults. Don't take if allergic to Nurtec ODT. Allergic reactions can occur even days after using. Most common side effects were nausea, indigestion, and stomach pain.
It's time we all shine. Talk to a healthcare provider about Nurtec ODT from Pfizer.
We get it. Learning something new is hard, especially a new language. So make it easy on yourself with Babbel, the language learning app that teaches real-world conversation for any situation. Babbel is more than vocab memorization. It teaches practical phrases you'll actually use. Say auf Wiedersehen to I give up, au revoir to it's too hard, and hola to real conversations with real people in a new language. Ready to find your follow-through? Get Babbel. It starts here. Start learning today at Babbel.com.
Grit, guts, glory. You got some winning genes. Find out what you're made of with Ancestry DNA. And for a limited time, you can see how your genes stack up against world-class athletes. Or even your trash-talking cousin, Brad. See which athletic traits are built into your DNA and the people you share them with. So get on your mark and get set for the sale of the summer before Brad beats you to it.
So don't let that chip spoil your trip.
Is that a chip? That happens a lot, but SafeLight could have helped. A chip repair is faster, cheaper, and easier than a new windshield. And with your insurance, it's usually free. So don't let that chip spoil your trip. Book today.
SafeLight Repair, SafeLight Replace.
My hair was thinning all around my hairline.
My dermatologist recommended Nutrafol. It's 100% drug-free and clinically tested.
My hair is longer, thicker.
Nutrafol is life-changing for me.
Get growing at Nutrafol.com.
It was one thing when my mom got Alzheimer's, but then we started noticing things that seemed off. She developed agitation that may happen with dementia due to Alzheimer's disease. Sometimes she'd fidget with her fingers, get suddenly overwhelmed, and even throw things. And that was just never her. So we asked her doctor what else we could do.
Rexulti is the only FDA-approved medication proven to reduce agitation symptoms that may happen with dementia due to Alzheimer's disease. Rexulti can cause serious side effects. Elderly dementia patients have increased risk of death or stroke, report fever, stiff muscles, and confusion, which can be life-threatening, or uncontrolled muscle movements, which may be permanent. High blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death, weight gain, increased cholesterol, low white blood cells, unusual urges, dizziness on standing, falls, seizures, trouble swallowing, or sleepiness may occur.
Rexulti helped reduce my mom's symptoms.
Take action for your loved one. Ask their doctor about Rexulti.
Right now, a caravan of hundreds of migrants from at least a dozen countries are walking from southern Mexico to the United States border. They say they want to cross into the U.S. before November's election, fearing potential changes Donald Trump could enact if he's reelected as president. Vice President Harris was put in charge of combating the root causes of migration from Central America's Northern Triangle region.
I don't know that the work that she did would have an immediate impact on the border, but I do know that it is a piece of a bigger puzzle when we think about how to manage the border and manage our migration system.
A recent Gallup survey shows 55% of Americans want to see immigration levels drop compared to 41% last year. You're looking live at Capitol Hill, where the Secret Service director is set for another grilling. House lawmakers demanding she step down from her role. Intense criticism is coming from both sides of the aisle, with many on the House Oversight Committee questioning Kimberly Cheatle on the security and safety of the presidential candidates. Joining me now is one of the many voices calling on Director Kimberly Cheatle's removal. Republican Congressman Tim Burchett joining us live. Mr. Burchett, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Mr. Burchett, I'm seeing a rare opportunity here where you and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez seem to actually agree on something there that demands that Cheatle actually step down. Do you think that this is something where both sides can actually come together in an effort to hold someone accountable?
I would hope so, but I suspect what will end up happening, it'll go down pretty much partisan lines. There'll be a question of the procedure or what have you. Democrats generally crack the whip pretty hard, and they hold their folks in line. And so I don't know. I would hope so. There was a lot of outrage on both sides of the aisle. It'd be hard to go home and say, hey, this lady was a success, and I voted to keep her in. I thought it was odd that she said one time she said, I've not talked with the FBI, who is in fact conducting the investigation. And just everything else she said, she didn't say, I think did her more harm than anything else. I was really shocked a little bit by some of her answers and just how obtuse she was to what was going on in the world right now.
And then at the same time, even talking about how it was a catastrophic failure and how this is the worst in the history of the Secret Service. Mr. Burchett, what does accountability actually look like in this situation? Is it just having the director step down, or should something more be done with changes within the Secret Service?
Absolutely. Yeah, she should be fired. She shouldn't have the opportunity to step down. But we know now the shooter was on the roof, and the Secret Service knew the shooter was on the roof. For almost 20 minutes, they saw someone up there, and it was not one of their own people. Why was President Trump allowed to even walk on stage? And when he was on stage after he was shot, why did he lay there for several seconds with the Secret Service, some cowering around him, some trying to find their holsters, some trying to find their sunglasses? It was a calamity. I mean, it was Keystone Cops, if anything, and it really looked bad upon the Secret Service. Unfortunately, very good agents. But another thing I pointed out was when President Trump walked in at the convention, when Lee Greenwood was singing "God Bless the USA," you didn't see the same Secret Service agents. They had the A-team in there with Trump then, and they sure as heck didn't have it before. And that iconic picture where he's raising his fist, that should have never been allowed. Those pictures you're showing, they should have never been able to make those pictures. There should have been bodies in front of him. Yet you see an agent right there who's literally, her head is below his head. That is wrong. I don't care who you got, but I don't care if it's a pink unicorn, but they better be able to protect the president. And when you're a lot shorter than he is, you're not going to be able to protect the president.
Mr. Burchett, the asset was definitely not protected there at all. Mr. Burchett, I have one quick question I do want to ask you. You've been trending lately because of your comments on DEI, specifically related to Kamala Harris. Would you like to clarify that? Do you believe that Kamala Harris, the Vice President of the United States, is a DEI selection?
The president said he was going to hire a woman. And to me, whenever you say you're going to hire one group or the other, you disqualify everybody else. And to me, that I'm a believer of you put the best player in, coach, and that's what you do. Kamala Harris is a failure. Her record at the border is beyond horrible. There's no question. 14 million people have come over the border, 100,000 Chinese terrorists, and yet she makes excuses. She couldn't find the border with a compass and a map. She is not the best player that should have been put in.
Congressman Burchett, thank you so much for clearing that up for me this morning. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
Pastor John Paul Miller is opening up exclusively to News Nation about the alleged list of abuses against his wife, Micah, who died by suicide.
No, I did not slash the tire. I don't think there's a naked picture of her anywhere, ever. Anyway, I think that was just a made-up thing. And I think that her tire just got something ran over, from what I understand.
Hear why he said he wrote an apology to Micah just before her death.
Your shipping manager left to find themselves, leaving you lost. You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Indeed Instant Match instantly delivers quality candidates matching your job description. Visit Indeed.com/hire.
Ooh, this is our night.
Shingles doesn't care, but Shingrix protects. Only Shingrix is proven over 90% effective. Shingrix is a vaccine used to prevent shingles in adults 50 years and older. Shingrix does not protect everyone and is not for those with severe allergic reactions to its ingredients or to a previous dose. An increased risk of Guillain-Barré syndrome was observed after getting Shingrix. Fainting can also happen. The most common side effects are pain, redness, and swelling at the injection site, muscle pain, tiredness, headache, shivering, fever, and upset stomach. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Shingrix today.
If you have Graves' disease, your eye symptoms could mean something more. That gritty feeling can't be brushed away. Even a little blurry vision can distort things, and something serious may be behind those itchy eyes. Up to 50% of people with Graves could develop a different condition called thyroid eye disease, which should be treated by a different doctor. See an expert. Find a TED eye specialist at isitted.com.
What Tractor Supply customers experience is personalized service made possible by T-Mobile for Business. With T-Mobile's reliable 5G business internet, employees get the information they need instantly. This is how business goes further with T-Mobile for Business.
Meet the Jennifers. Gen X, Gen Y, and Gen Z. Each planning their future through the Chase mobile app. Gen X is planning a summer in Portugal with some help from JP Morgan Wealth Plan. Let's go, Whiskers. Gen Y is working with a banker to budget for her birthday.
You only turned 30 once.
And Gen Z, her credit's golden. Hello, new apartment. 3 gens getting ahead with Chase. Solutions that grow with you. One bank for now, for later, for life. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Smile, you found it. The feeling of finding psoriasis can't filter out the real you. So go ahead, live unfiltered with the one and only Sotyktu, a once-daily pill for moderate to severe plaque psoriasis and the chance at clear or almost clear skin. It's like the feeling of finding you're so ready for your close-up, or finding you don't have to hide your skin, just your background. Once daily Sotyktu was proven better, getting more people clearer skin than the leading pill. Don't take if you're allergic to Sotyktu. Serious reactions can occur. Sotyktu can lower your ability to fight infections, including TB. Serious infections, cancers including lymphoma, muscle problems, and changes in certain labs have occurred. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, liver or kidney problems, high triglycerides, or had a vaccine or plan to. Sotyktu is a TYK2 inhibitor. TYK2 is part of the JAK family. It's not known if Sotyktu has the same risks as JAK inhibitors. Find what plaque psoriasis has been hiding. There's only one Sotyktu, so ask for it by name. So clearly you. Sotyktu.
We went with the website nuts.com because nuts and dried fruit and pretzels and trail mix and gummies and chocolate and espresso beans and malted milk balls and crackers and popcorn and sesame sticks and veggie chips and energy squares and fudge and jelly beans and seeds and rock candy and saltwater taffy and dried berries and fruit leather and bars and jerky and a whole lot more .com was already taken. Get 20% off and free shipping on your first order at nuts.com. Yes, we have more than nuts, but still the website is just nuts.com.
What if your body didn't have to hurt after being active? Introducing Stogo, the only apparel with adjustable medical-grade support designed to help you overcome injuries, minimize pain, and regain the confidence to get back out there. Stogo's supportive apparel is engineered with 90 feet of high-strength cables that reinforce the body and control dials that allow you to adjust the support. Stogo is trusted by professionals, world-class athletes, and weekend warriors who all want one thing: more activity and less pain. Learn more at Stogo.com.
Welcome back. 49 minutes after the hour, we're getting exclusive insights into the tragic death of Micah Miller. Investigators say she died by suicide just days after serving her husband, Pastor John Paul, with divorce papers. Loved ones presented a lengthy paper trail of his alleged abuses. Now her widower is answering questions on News Nation's Banfield.
In a letter or in an email you wrote to Micah, you apologized,
yes.
Right? You apologized for tracking her, for messing with her tires, for posting the picture. So that's all true, right?
So great question. I'm so glad you asked that, actually. If I wanted to lie about that, I would just say I never wrote the letter, right? Because how can you prove that I wrote somebody a letter? There's no signature, there's no name, it's not in my handwriting. But I 100% wrote the letter. And I did it because the night that she was with me, the last night we were together for 4 hours, at one point, because the whole 4 hours I'm trying to get her to take her medicine. And then she said, my family doesn't want me to. They don't want me to come inside the house. Maybe it's your house, come inside. So finally get to the point, she says, you know what? I'll take my medicine and I'll come home if you'll give me $10,000 and if you'll write me an apology letter.
So let me understand this correctly. The letter, the email that you wrote to Micah, apologizing for hiring a PI, tracking her, messing with her tires, and posting a topless photo of her. You wrote that, you say.
Yes,
but
sir.
Now you're saying that you didn't actually do these things.
I did the PI thing, but so over the years what I've learned with her is when she's in a delusional state of mind, I have to play into it in order to get her back on medicine. So the first year or two when she'd say something, I'd say, that's not true, that's not real. She'd get mad and blow up and, knock a hole in the wall or something like that. So then by December 2019, I think it was, we were watching TV and she just stopped and said, you're a double agent. And I said, no, I'm not. She says, yes, you are. She said, and I'm going to call the police. She said, you're a double agent. You've stolen my things, and I'm going to put you in jail. And I was like, oh my goodness, what do I do? She hadn't been taking her medicine.
So just to be clear, you wrote this to Micah, but now you're saying you didn't do those things.
No, I did not slash the tire. I did not. I don't think there's a naked picture of her anywhere, ever. Anyway, I think that was just a made-up thing. And I think that her tire just got something ran over, from what I understand. I don't know. I didn't see anything.
You can watch Banfield weeknights here on News Nation at 9 Central. Bipartisan fury growing over the Secret Service's response to the failed assassination attempt against former President Trump. But will it be enough to force Director Kimberly Cheatle out of her job? We're talking to a former Secret Service agent over what went wrong and what Director Cheatle calls the world Secret Service failure in decades. The worst, excuse me. And this morning, the world is here, mourning the death of Abdul Duke Fakir, the last original member of the famed Motown group, the Four Tops. The singer died on Monday in Detroit. His son says he died from heart failure. Duke co-founded the Four Tops in 1953, the group known for its hits including Baby, I Need Your Loving, I Can't Help Myself, Sugar Pie Honey Bunch, and Reach Out, I'll Be There. Duke was 88 years old. And a little Tuesday trivia for you. Which Four Tops hit was first to reach #1 on the Billboard Top 100 singles chart? Was it A, I Can't Help Myself, Sugar Pie Honey Bunch? B, Reach Out, I'll Be There? C, Baby, I Need Your Loving? Or D, It's the Same Old Song? just a different meaning since you came along. Yeah, that's it. The answer when we came back.
Do you have subscriptions that are forgotten or even hidden? See and cancel them all in one place with Experian. Download the app and see how much you could save.
At the Jeep Make This the Summer event, you can take a vacation from payments on the most capable Wrangler ever. Our most affordable SUV, Jeep Compass. The only open-air pickup, Jeep Gladiator. And the most awarded SUV ever, Jeep Grand Cherokee. Hurry into your Jeep brand dealer and make the most out of summer with great deals plus no payments for 90 days.
During the Jeep Make This the Summer event, get $3,000 total bonus cash allowance on select 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited models in dealer stock.
Nobody wants to put a new roof over their head. It's too expensive. And if they can extend the life of that roof and get 5 more years or 10 more years, it's a no-brainer.
What RoofMax does is it helps people in that they don't have to spend that $15,000, $20,000 on a new roof. They can spend pennies on the dollar.
The RoofMax product was a small percentage of cost of replacing a roof.
This is a great financial decision for us as a community.
You got this. 1, remember, I don't want surgery for my Dupuytren's contraction.
2, I want to be able to lay my hand flat.
3, I want a non-surgical recovery.
4, I want options, non-surgical options.
And 5,
And if non-surgical treatment isn't offered?
I'll get a second opinion. Let's go.
Take charge of your treatment. If you can't lay your hand flat, visit findahandspecialist.com to get started.
Hi, I'm Jay Jackson. For almost 20 years, Abacus Life has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors. And in just seconds, you can use the free calculator at abacuspays.com to learn what your policy might be worth.
For many of my clients, selling their life insurance to Abacus was right for them and their estate plan.
Don't sell or lapse your policy without going to abacuspays.com first. There are no fees and no obligations. Get the real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus.
A perfect day for a family outing. Shingles doesn't care, but Shingrix protects. Only Shingrix is proven over 90% effective. Shingrix is a vaccine used to prevent shingles in adults 50 years and older. Shingrix does not protect everyone and is not for those with severe allergic reactions to its ingredients or to a previous dose. An increased risk of Guillain-Barré syndrome was observed after getting Shingrix. Fainting can also happen. The most common side effects are pain, redness, and swelling at the injection site, muscle pain, tiredness, headache, shivering, fever, and upset stomach. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Shingrix today.
Your record label is taking off, but so is your sound engineer. You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Indeed Instant Match instantly delivers quality candidates matching your job description. Visit Indeed.com/hire.
Lactate is 100% real milk, just without the lactose. Delicious, too. Just ask my old friend Kevin.
Nothing like enjoying a cold one while watching the game. Who's winning?
No idea.
Real milk, real delicious.
And don't forget to try some delicious, creamy Lactate ice cream. What's that, Mabel?
Wow. Smart cow.
In honor of the late Abdul Duke Fakir, the last original member of the Four Tops, we asked you all at home which Four Tops hit was first to reach #1 on the Billboard Top 100 singles chart. If you answered A, I Can't Help Myself, Sugar Pie Honey Bunch, you were right. That song reached #1 in 1965 and was featured on the album titled Four Tops. Let's listen to Olivia Newton-John. It's time to get physical. The American College of Sports Medicine releasing their list of the healthiest cities in the U.S. Arlington, Virginia, taking the top spot for the 7th year in a row, with D.C. and Seattle coming in 2nd and 3rd place, respectively. The study looks at a number of factors like how many people walk and bike to work, with 88% of Arlington residents reported they've exercised in the past month. And on this date, Frank Sinatra, old Blue Eyes himself, his album hit #1 on the U.S. charts. Plus, we celebrate the star of the Harry Potter franchise. Today is July 23rd. If you're in the mood for something sweet, it's National Vanilla Ice Cream Day. But let's take it back to 1829, when William Alston Burt patented America's first typographer, aka the typewriter. We also remember our 18th President of the United States, Ulysses S. Grant, who died at the age of 63.
Strangers in the night.
And Old Blue Eyes, Frank Sinatra's album Strangers in the Night, hit #1 on the U.S. charts, winning Grammys for both Record of the Year and Best Male Vocal Performance. Speaking of music, in 1979, songwriter and Destiny's Child singer Michelle Williams was born.
I'm scared, Potter. You wish.
And 10 years later, the star of the Harry Potter franchise, Daniel Radcliffe, was too. And in 2019, Boris Johnson was chosen as the new British Prime Minister by the ruling Conservative Party to replace Theresa May. Yeah, and Boris Johnson left office in September of 2022. Earlier in his career, he served as the second elected mayor of London. It's the top of the hour. We have more news for All America. Get that coffee.